Hello. Hello. How's everyone doing? Can everyone hear me? I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. I can't complain. Now, this stream is going to be a little bit different than the one I did 2 days ago. Um, it's going to be a bit more of me talking, but if you do have questions, feel free to ask them either in the comment section or on Teams, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. Because here's the thing, how to take notes is different for everyone. Um, but I can give you some advice. I can definitely give you some advice to get the most out of, any class you do in the future or continuing to work with me. Uh, the main thing you got to realize, though, when you're taking notes is you're not going to get everything. And that's key. You're not going to get everything. It's impossible, especially if you're listening to someone. If you're listening to someone talk or explain, and they're telling you to take notes, it's impossible to write down everything they say. It's just not practical. Instead, what you need to do is sort of summarize what the person is saying or what you're reading. For example, if I were to say, let's take notes on, what do I want to say? If I asked you to take notes on the sports scores for the top 10 teams in basketball, well, you could write down, well, this team got this points and this many teams points. This team got this many points, or you can say one team X number, second team this number. You don't have to write it down in a complete sentence for your notes. Just get the key information, but that's important. How can you find out what the key information is? Well, let's take a look. I'll post something in the chat for you guys to take a look at. There you go. I just posted the link. This link I just posted was um, a speech by Franklin Delano Roosevelt. It's the whole speech. Shortly after that started World War II in for the United States. Now, if I were to say, take notes on this, what are the key points? What do we take away from it? Well, let's take a look together. Come on, computer. There we go. By looking at this entire thing, it's very long. It's about 2 pages worth of information. We could sum this up in just a few words, though. And that's the key, is we had to pull the important information. And how do you do that? Well, you look at each section of the document or the notes of the lecture, and you sort of see, okay, is there anything important here that needs to be pulled out? Is there anything that stands out? And if the answer is yes, then we'll write that down as important. The other thing when you're looking through a document is, does this answer a question that I've been given? If the answer is yes, then it probably is important to write down for the notes. Or does it relate back to the main topic? If it relates back to the main topic, then it's probably important to write down in your notes. For example, if the main topic of this document is the declaration of war by the United States. So what we would do is we write down anything that is related to, well, my camera just unfocused. There we go. We would write down anything that connects to declaration of war, declaring war. Second thing is, if it answers the question or answers the main subject, then we're able to continue going forward. If we get down the main idea and the main question, then we can start taking notes based off that. And that is if we are that is the easiest way to do it. If it answers the main idea, or if it answers the main question, um, then those are the things that we want to write down. Now you might say, okay, I don't know if this answers the main question or is part of the main idea. It's difficult to tell. In that case, it's err on the side of caution. And this is all for when you are listening to someone lecture, or you're watching a video, or you're reading a document. If you're going into a textbook, and this is important, especially for my 8th graders that are here, if you're going into a textbook to take notes, uh, you'll want to do something that's known as outline style. We've talked about that in class, where you'll break down each section and take notes from each section uh, of the textbook. So if you're on page, oh, let me grab my textbook real quick. And if, say, you were on something that looked like this, you would write down information from each little section in the book. That way you can ensure that you're getting information from each section, and you're able to ensure that you're not missing any information. Especially if they tell you what the main idea is, especially if they tell you what the main idea is or why it matters. So, now, does anyone have any questions, or is there anyone that is confused about why or how to take notes? The main issue with how to take notes is that it takes practice. Um, and I'm sure people in older that Sergio, that's in 9th grade, will tell you that taking notes is a difficult process that you really just have to learn and focus, um, and really just get down and just do it. It stings, it's not fun, but it allows you to organize information in a way that's easier to go back to later. Other tips for taking notes is color code it. Use multiple colors, that way you can organize information easier. Because here's the thing, you're going to be taking notes in high school, you're going to be taking notes in college. Depending on the job you go into, you'll be taking notes in your job later on in life. And, and in all honesty, it's just something that needs to be done through practice. So I'm going to wait to see if there's any questions. If anyone has anything they want to ask. Hello, everyone. Yes, hello. All right. There are there are some ways that you can improve your note taking if you're not good at it. The first is by recording. Write all the meaningful information legibly. What do you know? What do you mean by meaningful? Well, if the person repeats the information, or if it's in bold, or if it's italicized, or if it appears on a screen, or it looks like there's a definition with it, those are the things that you know are meaningful. If the person repeats it, if it's in bold, if it's in italics, if it's in quotations, so on and so forth. Once you have all the meaningful information, reduce it, compact it, summarize it, make it smaller, make it easier to remember. Basically, if you've got a long paragraph definition, how could I sum that up and now into a single sentence to make it easy to remember? To make it rememberable, you have to then recite it, turn it into your own words, not into my words, not into the book's words. That way, it's you learning the material, not the material being placed inside your brain and then being dumped out later. Then reflect. Ask questions if you don't understand. Once you've done the first three steps, which is record, reduce, and recite, well, reflect. Do I understand what this means? If not, should I ask questions? If I don't understand it, that means I need to go back to the previous step and expand a bit more to get under more understanding. And finally, review. Just review the material, especially before studying new material or before a test. All right, I'm going to provide you one more link. Then don't do that. If you need to actually work, no, I'm not talking about race. Um, your paragraphs need to be detailed to start with, but then you summarize them later. You want all the information first, and then you make it small. Because if you're missing information, then you won't have any idea what the information is if you start out small. Better go big than start small. I'm going to put down a link. Now, this information says College Info Geek for how to take notes in college, but this is good for anyone. This is good for middle school, high school, college, future jobs, anyone really. It talks about a bunch of different styles of how to take notes. Yes, I am talking about how to take notes. I'm not talking about race. If we want to, we can talk about race another time. Um, Maybe at a later time we'll talk about that topic. So, does anyone have any questions? That website that I put in the chat, and I'll put it down in the description below, tells you how to take better notes. It tells you a whole bunch of different techniques um, for how to take notes or how to take better notes in college, but it can be done at any grade level. We can always improve. When I say record, it's like you should write down all the meaningful information. I'll also put that in here. I'll put that link as well. That was easy. When I say record, I mean write down everything that's important. It means if I would today, we would have wrote you would have wrote down the five R's. You would have talked about the websites. You would have talked about the examples of what's used for where, and it just really down to understanding what the topic is. If you know what the topic is, then you know what to record. If you don't know what the topic is, then it's kind of very difficult to record what is meaningful and what's important. Does that make sense? All right, yes. If there's any more questions, I've got two more live streams tomorrow. They are going to be pretty much exclusively for seventh grade. Those sixth and eighth grade are welcome to attend, or anyone else is welcome to attend, honestly. Um, but they will be talking about their study guide in preparation for their test. Yes, this topic is indeed helpful for any class. What you guys realize about notes is just that it's really about getting the meaningful information and getting it down and getting it recorded. Seventh grade's test, I am not sure when it's going to be. If we get back to school April 6th, which is the plan, then the test will be that date. But I'll keep you posted. Those two links that I posted in the chat, I will also post in the description below of this video when I put it on uh, um, when I post it to YouTube. Eighth grade's test, we will talk about that one in Microsoft Teams, and I will send out an email about that. I'm not sure exactly when we'll do those. So, like I said, seventh grade will have a live stream tomorrow at noon, and then another one at 7. Feel free to only attend one of those. But if there are no other questions, Then I will see you 7th grade tomorrow. Anyone else would like to attend, please do so. But please be aware that we'll be going over the study guide for 7th grade, which they will have access to. All right, then. I will see you all in the next video. Bye.